Hi there. I wanted to show you guys really quickly how to make a post for the website blog. Um, so anything you post will show up down here under Prosperity Blog. It's time-based, so things that came before will show up later. It's just kind of a chronological waterfall of posts. It doesn't have to be updated a ton, but it would be good to kind of add some life here and there to the website. If you have kind of substantial events once every few months, like maybe the the Fall Harvest Festival, that would be a good time to do a blog post about it. I think you still need to be focusing most of your attention on Facebook. It's just a lot more current in terms of how people get information. But I think this can act in a nice supporting role for people who maybe don't engage with Facebook a lot. It can show that you're still active. It can show donors what you guys are doing without having to deal with this. So I think they can work in tandem, and I wanted to show you guys really quickly how you might take a Facebook post that already exists, or how to replicate something that's on Facebook that you post first to Facebook and transfer it to the blog. So once you've signed in and this login information is in an email, I didn't want to broadcast it here, you'll be confronted with this. For those of you that don't know WordPress, this is a dashboard, and this is basically how everything gets to here. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a post, a new post. You can click on posts over here, and it'll take you to the post page. This is also where you can manage old posts. You can see you can trash or view or edit old posts. And this is where you would you'd want to take care of that. You can also add a new one by going up here or over here. So we'll just click this, and we're going to use this post on Facebook as an example. It looks like there was a morning at Fowler Farm, so that for this example will be our title, Morning at Fowler Farm. And we'll give that an exclamation mark, and then what we'll do is simply come over here and copy that. And it really doesn't have to be much more substantial than what you guys have already. That's not a big deal. Excuse me. And then the next part of this, and you can see, like when you click on this, for example, an old post, it's got a bit of text. This one was also pulled from a Facebook post, by the way. It has some images, and then that's pretty much it. So what you're going to want to do, obviously you'll have access to these images from a camera or whatever. If somebody like an intern is helping you, they can download them straight to their computer, and I'll show you how to do that really quickly. So on any photo, if you go to Options, Download, that will download that image. You have to name it appropriately, but they'll all show up. I already did that here. You can see that I've named them Farm Stand 1, 2, 3, 4, and Featured, and I'll get to why that's called Featured in a minute. Maybe more appropriately would have been Fowler Farms, but I did this before I'd actually read much of the post. Okay, so to get those photos that now live on your computer into here, you can click Add Media, and you can choose photos that you've already uploaded, but those already belong to other posts, so we want to upload new files, and we can select the files, and they're in this folder right here. And I'm going to select all of them and click Open. Excuse me. Okay. So these are all checked. If we wanted to include this one as well too, we could do that. You can really do quite a bit from here. You can edit them as well. You can see but the easiest way to do this is just click Insert into Post. And you can see it just populated this with a bunch of information that's going to look kind of like gibberish to somebody who hasn't worked with HTML. There's two tabs up here. There's text and visual. If you look at visual, it's going to look more like an email, and this might be a little easier to deal with for somebody that's not as familiar with this sort of stuff. However, we will need to switch back to text for a couple of things I'm going to show you. Now, unfortunately, there's not a good way to dynamically resize images in a post. If we click preview right now, it's going to show us what this would look like as is. We'll take a second. You can see they're stretched. And that's because there's a conflict between this and that. And so the easiest way to do this, simply delete the word height followed by those numbers. We'll click preview again. That would have been the first image. And you can see now that the top one is no longer stretched, the bottom ones still are. You'll have to edit this for every single image. Which is a little bit of a pain, but it's a lot simpler than quite a few of the alternatives. So hopefully this isn't too big of a chore. Typically you'll only be uploading about 5 to 10 images, so it shouldn't be too bad. We'll go preview again just to double check that everything we did is working. And there they all are. They're perfectly resized. They're all the same width, so it'll be easy for mobile browsing, etc. Now the next thing we need to do in here is set a featured image. And a featured image is when we go to the home page, specifically the featured image is going to be what shows up on the home page. You can see right here. It's also going to be what shows up in the slider should you want to include that post in there, and I'll get to that in a second. So down here you can click Set Featured Image. Now the one thing you have to keep in mind about this is that for it to work on the homepage slider, if you do want to include it in there, it has to be horizontally formatted. So what I mean by that is all of these are vertical orientation. They're taller than they are wide. For it to work on the home page, and this is kind of across all sliders, it needs to be wider than it is tall. That's why I named, when we were in here, I named it featured, because you can see this one is in horizontal format. So we're going to go to our post and we're going to select this one for the featured image. I'm going to click Set, and after it loads it'll show it down here. And then if we want this to appear on the home page, we need to add a tag specific to it. So we're going to add homepage, and that'll add right here. You can manually type it out and it will offer suggestions, whatever you feel is quickest. But what that's going to do, anything with this particular tag is going to show up on that homepage slider. We're going to go ahead and publish this. We can always change it later, but this way we can see how it shows up on the home page. So I'm going to refresh the page so we get the most current. You can see another dot showed up here, so that'll eventually take it through. Here's our post. We can click on this. The computer's running a little slow because I'm recording this all. We'll go ahead and click on this, and this should take us to the page. And there it all is. So if we go back to the home page, this slider will automatically cycle through every 5 seconds or so, but we can manually click through it. And you can see that this one is stretched. This is what we don't want. You can see I accidentally picked farm stand 1. So what we want to do is go back to edit the post. We remove the featured image. We click set the featured image. We select this one, farm stand featured this time. Set the featured image. Then what we want to do is go up here. You got to make sure to click update for all the changes to take effect. There we go. We'll refresh this. And there it is. Perfectly sized image without any stretching. Now if you click on this, it'll also take you to the post as well. This can be really handy for highlighting very specific things. So if you want something to appear, you type homepage in that tag, and if you don't want it to appear in this, say it's just a minor post just to give somebody a quick update about what you guys have been up to on the farm, you just don't include that.